Hi, this is Erin from the Witch of Saturn, and today I am participating in the My Tarot Identity hashtag by Carrie's Mystical Musings. And the first prompt is a deck that matches your outward aesthetic. For this, I chose Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle. This deck really matches my overall aesthetic. It's a little dark, very witchy, all about the moon, but also has some brightness to it, a lot of color, a little bit rainbowy at times. I feel like my aesthetic is kind of this blend of two different vibes or looks, like definitely things that are very witchy and astrology oriented, but also a little bit lighter, brighter. My oldest daughter's favorite color is rainbow, and that definitely comes through in my aesthetic. I have Mercury in Gemini and a Libra stellium, so there's always this duality to me, and I think that this deck really shows those two sides. Kind of like, I often describe my aesthetic as the room that Wednesday shares with Enid in the Wednesday reboot show. So kind of half dark and half bright and colorful. A deck that fits a hidden or guilty pleasure aesthetic you secretly love and rarely show. And for this, I chose Playful Heart Tarot by Kitten Chops. This is a side of me that doesn't come out a lot. This kind of very childlike, playful side that is bright and colorful and just fun. I think that if I'm going to be very honest and vulnerable, I think that this side of me is hidden because I experienced some childhood trauma that I feel kind of robbed me of my innocence and my childhood, and this is definitely a side of myself that I'm reclaiming as I reparent my inner child through now being a mom to my two girls. And this deck really encompasses that for me, and I love to use it for inner child work, and I'm just like very thankful to have found this deck thanks to my friend Jay at Iridescent Tarot. And I love that it's so rainbowy and fun, and it just brings out that really joyful side to me. A deck that matches your personality. For this, I chose Seasons of the Witch, the Samhain Oracle. I think that this deck really encompasses a lot of facets of my personality. I'm very rooted. Some of these keywords just really speak to me about rebirth, different facets of my personality, elders, and this connection to other generations. I'm a fan of multi-generational living, altar, healer. I think that if anything, this shows a lot of different sides to my personality that also encompasses this really witchy aesthetic. And I think that people who are friends with me will attest to there being a lot of different facets to my personality, but also that I will tell it like it is, and that's what this deck does. A deck that represents a fun fact or something unique about you. For this, I chose this Astrocodes deck because something that is unique and fun about me is that in addition to being a tarot reader and enthusiast, I'm also a professional astrologer. So I love using this deck to track the moon through the signs. This usually I don't have the box out because this deck lives up in my closet on my altar there. But I'm always thinking about astrology, talking about astrology, looking at life through the astrological lens, and I also weave this into my tarot practice, and I study the crossover between astrology and tarot all of the time. Also the crossover between astrology and herbalism, and this deck just represents that. A deck that feels like your alter ego. For this, I chose the Final Rose Tarot. So this deck represents my alter ego side that we could call the basic bitch, because I absolutely love all things that are super basic. Like, you will find me drinking a pumpkin spice latte, wearing Uggs, and watching reality TV. I love reality TV. People are usually surprised about that when they get to know me, but I think it is a fantastic form of escapism. I love the drama as long as it's not in my personal life, and so there is no better deck to represent that than this Final Rose Tarot, which is based on The Bachelorette, which is actually a reality show I haven't watched yet, but I certainly plan to now that Taylor from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going to be on it. So yeah, sorry, I'm the worst. We'll just end it with that. A deck that fits how you are as a bestie. For this, I chose the Gentle Tarot. I chose the Gentle Tarot for this prompt because I feel like as a bestie and as a friend, I am super grounded. I am a triple earth. I've got a Taurus sun, Capricorn moon, and rising. So a lot of my friends actually have not a lot of earth energy in their chart, and I think that we click so much because I kind of ground them. Oh my gosh, look at all these reversals. And also as a friend, I try to, something that I love about this deck is that it's so inclusive. It really holds space and works to decolonize the tarot, and I think as a friend that that's something that I'm always working to do, is to hold space for my friends to be exactly as they are, to look at the patterns in their lives that are not serving them, that are outdated or antiquated, and ways that I can support them and help them grow, but in a way that is very kind and loving and caring. And I don't think that there is a deck out there that better encompasses that than this one. A deck that represents a place you'd love to live or a dream vacation. I had kind of a hard time with this. I don't really have a deck that shows that. Originally, I thought about that Green Witches Tarot, which I don't have, but my friend Jamie does. And as I was looking through hers the other day, I was thinking about, well, I was saying that I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to live here. I could live in this deck. But I don't have that one. And I think that this does a good job of kind of showing the kind of energy that I like to live in, because this deck, which is Wild Reflections Tarot by Yspell, is kind of shows these ordinary moments, but the reason that I was so drawn to it is because of these sparkles that you see in kind of every card. They have this little, like, everything is alive with magic. So you have these ordinary, mundane scenes of life and these ordinary people, but there is clearly something bigger happening, something more magical. And I try to live my life that way. So I really just want to and choose to live in a world where magic is happening all around us. Nature is just so incredible and so magical, and it blows me away constantly. And I think that this deck really does a good job of visually showing that. A deck that brings out your creative side. For this, I chose the Felt Tarot by my good friend, Jamie Sawyer. So Jamie and I talk about her often. She and I have been friends for almost 19 years now, almost 20 years. and we were friends long before either of us was ever as into tarot as we are now. She's a deck creator, obviously, and I think this is her 11th deck that she's created. And we've had different phases and eras of our friendship where we've been closer or a little, busy and not as connected, but we've been very close for the past maybe 5 years now. And she's someone that I speak with every single day and just, one of my best friends. And so I was very close to the process of her creating the felt tarot and was watching as she made each one of these felt panels that these cards are created of. And I just have never met someone who is more creative. Jamie does more in a morning than I create in a month. It's wild, actually. It's kind of just unbelievable, the things that she can do. And so she really inspires me and brings out my creativity. And I just absolutely love it. And I love this deck because of that. And also, I should note that this bag is also a beautiful creative masterpiece by our friend Jenna from Moonlit Fae. And so together, these two women are just awesome creative forces. A deck that represents the landscape in your dreams. Yikes. I don't have a really great dream world relationship. I suffered a lot from night terrors and nightmares for a lot of my life. I think it's because I have Uranus and Neptune in the 12th house in Sag, but honestly, the deck that would best encapsulate this realm, my dream realm, is probably the Somnia Tarot, which is on my list and I don't have yet. So instead I chose the Ritual Tarot by Tira May. And I chose this because, as you can see, the landscape is kind of dark and maybe slightly disturbing and a little bit disjointed. And that's kind of like the vibe in my dreams. There's not like every dream is terrible, but even like the good ones are just kind of like weird. They're just odd, or like the not so bad ones, because I wouldn't say I have any like really great dreams. I never wake up and I'm like, that was a great dream. I just want to keep being there. Like, no, I just kind of want to get out of there. And yeah, maybe some people can relate to that. And so this deck kind of reminds me of that. Like sometimes there'll just be some like very strange images or things that happen, or kind of familiar landscapes that are skewed or different or off. And I really think that this deck has that kind of a vibe. A deck that represents your life currently or the season of life that you're in. For this, I chose the Yellow House Tarot by Heidi Dawn Nickerson. I chose this deck because it is tarot through your home. It's basically, the world of tarot existing within this yellow house. And I am very much a homebody. I spend a lot of time doing things that are shown in this deck. I spend a lot of time gardening. I spend a lot of time making art with my kids. I spend a lot of time making tea. I am kind of like a stay-at-home mom who also runs my own business from my house. And so I think that this deck really encapsulates that and shows kind of this homemaker vibe that I definitely devote a lot of my time to: cooking, dishes, the mundane household chores. And also I know that Heidi is a mom, and I am definitely in my mother era of my life. Bonus deck, a deck that tells it like it is. This is what you use for predictive readings. And for this, I chose the Jamie Sawyer RWS Redux. I love doing predictive readings, and client readings with an RWS deck. I think that there's just something to the classic imagery that really speaks very clearly. And I love this deck in particular because it is untitled. There's no names on the cards, just the imagery that is very classic RWS, but also brings in like a modern twist with these watercolor backgrounds and the mandalas that show the either elements of the court cards or the decans. So we see here that Four of Swords is Jupiter in the sign of Libra. So as an astrologer, I love having that right there so that I don't have to dig through my brain to remember every astrological correspondence when I'm doing readings. So this will always be the deck that I reach for to spill the tea, to paint a picture of, you know, what's up and to answer specific questions. I'm very excited that this is getting, the Redux is getting a redo, and will have a different cardstock that is the same cardstock as the Felt Tarot that I showed before, which I love, 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 love to shuffle. So this, I can't wait. It'll have different backs too with the colors inverted. I want it now in my hands. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, that's it. And this deck lives in my favorite Moonlit Fae bag. I just love this print. I think that this kind of shows back to, you know, the first prompt, my overall aesthetic of being like dark and witchy and still girly and fun. And so I just love that. Thank you so much for watching. This was so fun. Thank you to Carrie for creating such a great community hashtag. Bye.